The Australian government's near $10 billion investment in offensive and defensive cybersecurity capabilities is the greatest indicator that cybercrime remains one of the most pervasive threats facing Australia. The investment made bolsters the nation's cybersecurity and prompts companies and individuals to keep pace and strengthen their cyber defences. With the use of online environments rapidly expanding, it is left sensitive information at greater risk than ever. Now, joining us to discuss the federal government's ramping up of its investment in cybersecurity in the federal budget is DB Results' Chris Pearce. Welcome, Chris.
Good to be with you, Michael.
Likewise. Now, $10 billion, it sounds a lot on the surface. Is it enough, or do we still need more?
Michael, this is a great investment, $9.9 billion announced in the recent federal budget. It's a wonderful investment. It is a signal, isn't it, that cybersecurity and everything that falls under that big umbrella is becoming such a significant area of concern. And of course, it's a concern for governments at all levels, as it is for enterprises throughout Australia as well. So this investment, I think, is a fantastic, huge step in the right direction. And it's great to see the federal government, walking the talk, so to speak. These funds are particularly going to be directed, according to the announcement at the Australian Signals Directorate. They're going to enable ASD to be able to employ thousands more analysts, technologists. They're going to enable a greater geographic spread. Obviously our nation's capital, Canberra, is the centre for ASD activity, but in the announcement, they actually make the point that over 40% of these new capabilities are going to be deployed outside of Canberra, Michael. And I think that's another sign of that, of trying to build that level of resilience into our cybersecurity status.
Now, we've all been struck by outages in our network providers and the disruption it causes to our daily lives. If we looked at that from a cybersecurity threat, the ability of a foreign actor or just a malicious hacker to be able to switch the lights off or stop us banking, it's a pretty frightening scenario when you consider the power and the impact that would have.
It is frightening, Michael. And I think what's important to reflect on here is that these actors have the potential to impact everybody in our community. It's not just government, it's not just the big end of town. It also includes small, medium enterprises, very small local businesses. They have the ability, as you say yourself, we've all experienced it at a residential level, outages of one sort or another, banks, telecommunications, etc. So it permeates, it flows through the whole of society. And so it is a concern. Having said that, I think this announcement, combined with what the private sector is doing in Australia, you put those together, I think that we are very much on the forefront here. And I think Australia is doing very well. And this recent announcement is just going to add to that. So, but it's a matter of keeping up with these people. These people are getting cleverer and cleverer, Michael. And unless governments and businesses respond and become equally clever, you're going to get attacked and it's going to cause big issues.
That's exactly where I was going to go with my next question, Chris. It's very well to have the government leading with this $10 billion investment and the Signals Director looking out for us, but how much responsibility do these small to medium enterprises need to take on their own? Surely they can't just sit back and go, we've got the government looking after us now, we're safe.
Yeah, quite true. They have to take responsibility as well, absolutely. The government can do something, and this announcement is going to, be a massive step forward. But at the end of the day, as a business, as a business operator and owner, you need to be able to build in that level of protection and resilience in your own infrastructure. Michael, one of the fascinating things is that a lot of people just see it as being, well, what do I need to do to protect myself, to prevent an attack, if you like. It's not just yourself, it's your whole supply chain that you need to think about. A lot of people come in, not directly, but they come in through your supply chain, if you like. So you might have a link. You might be doing online transactions with one of your suppliers as a small business. They'll get hacked, and therefore it'll come into your environment as well. So it's a multifaceted approach. And I guess that's one of the things that we work with our clients here at DB Results in the services that we offer. We don't only just help educate and train organisations, we help provide capability assessments of what they need to do to protect themselves, but also, if they do get attacked, how they need to be able to manage it, to contain it.
Yeah, it's all very well having the best, I liken it to the best deadbolts on your door at home to keep the intruders out, but if you don't lock them, it just takes one person within the organisation to click on that link, and it doesn't matter how good your security systems are. And a lot of the phishing comes down to, and the hacking comes down to, just that inexperienced or unfortunate click on a link that looks genuine, doesn't it, Chris?
Yes, it's true. It's true, Michael. And that's why the education and training is important. And again, it's not education and training at just one level of the organisation. This flows from the top down, if you like, everybody. So, if it's a reasonable sized business that's got a board, let's say, and the executive team, and then the staff management team, etc., or even a small business owner operator, you have to train everybody in the organisation. And there's different ways of doing that, of course. And again, I'm sure you'll appreciate this. It's not just a matter of saying, okay, let's get ourselves trained, and you organise a training workshop, and so you tick the box, we're trained. The issue with cyber and the issue with technology is it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, technology is always changing. It's always advancing. It's always getting smarter. It's always getting better. But the other side of that sword when it comes to security is that it's always changing. And so you need to have this continual process in almost, Michael, can I say, it needs to become part of your business's, your organisation's DNA, part of your culture, that you have this continual education and training program, that you make sure that your people that are looking after your technology infrastructure are aware of what the latest hacks have been, and that you're making sure that you're putting in place the improvements or the patches, or I don't want to get too technical, but the updates that you need to be able to knock those new phishing exercises out.
It can be that simple, can't it, Chris? Just a new patch comes up that hasn't been applied, and these people will look for that vulnerability where the patch hasn't been applied and going, great, we're in here.
Yeah. Well, again, as consumers, we do upgrades to our phone quite frequently, don't we? Our phone providers say there's an update to be able to fix a bug here, or to do this, or what have you. It's the same thinking, I think, Michael, for IT infrastructure, isn't it? You need to be able doing these constant updates. And so, again, we work with our clients in advising them about, what updates need to be done, how they need to make sure that any vulnerabilities are being covered as comprehensively as possible to avoid that penetration and that risk of being attacked.
I think too, we look at the internet. I know myself, I now get to do presentations and talks all over the world, UK, everything like that, via Zoom, so there's no flying. And while the internet has provided fantastic opportunities, you've got to balance that up against the risks. It can't all be good, so there has to be a cost, surely, where you've got to go, you know what, the opportunities are there, but I need to also make sure that that opportunity isn't going to be a Trojan horse, isn't going to be something where I've rushed in and go, yeah, it's all great, and I end up ransomwared or locked out of my own system, or I know I'd feel pretty guilty if my customers were impacted by my lack of awareness.
Absolutely. It's it's an ethical. It almost goes to sort of the ethical area, doesn't it? About how you would feel bad. Have I done everything possible to protect my customers' information, etc. So you've got that dimension. You've got the whole risk, corporate reputational risk dimension that needs to be thought about as well. But yeah, look, I mean, technology. I love being in technology because I think it's made human existence just so much better, hasn't it? There's no doubt about that. But there is a downside to technology. There's no doubt about that, and that's why you've got to be vigilant.
Yep. I could not imagine the last 2 years without technology, without homeschooling, being able to still contact our loved ones. It really came to the fore. But again, too, it's also enabled a lot more opportunities for the bad guys to get in. So, Chris, organisations such as myself that are small, how do we do it ourselves? Is this where DB Results come in? Is this where organisations such as yours offer real value for money, so we don't have to have that Chief Information Officer on staff on payroll?
Yes, Michael, it is. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter whether you're small, medium or large. You've got to do this. You've got to do it at some level, depending on what your infrastructure is. So, as I mentioned earlier, we help people. We have education and training and awareness programs in and around cybersecurity. We offer capability assessments, regardless of whether or not you're a large multinational global corporation, you're a small, medium enterprise. You still need to have a capability assessment. You need to have somebody step back and objectively look at your infrastructure and pick out where your vulnerabilities are. And then you need to have a roadmap about closing those vulnerabilities down. And then, of course, you've got to make sure you keep on doing that as well. So that's what we do. That's what we love doing with our clients. We do it very, very well. So that's what our clients tell us. And it's an important thing. And, it's not a matter of just doing it for technology's sake. It's about protecting people's very private personal information.
Great. All right. Chris Pearce from DB Results. Thanks so much for the information and the updates.
Nice to see you, Michael.